Okay, everybody. Nice to have you here tonight for the first meeting for the year 2024 for the Raleigh Astronomy Club Imaging Group. Tonight's topic will be the Imaging Target Challenge, our first one of the year. And we, again, going back, the Imaging Target Challenge is something that we uh, go about doing every quarter. And the whole challenge is based on we give an assignment and everybody goes out and um, goes out and images that part of the sky or uses a technique that we have designated to see if your processing skills are up to par for meeting the challenge in the first place. But for this quarterly challenge, uh, the theme that I came up with, just I guess, yeah, just me bragging or whatever, because I like movies a lot. It was called the Release the Kraken, which is a reference to Clash of the Titans, the old and new one, depending on which one you want to think about. And all the big names that you saw in there coming from Greek mythology, whether it be Perseus, Pegasus, Andromeda, Cepheus, Cassiopeia, and then of course the sea monster Kraken, if you want to call him that, Cetus, which is way off in the south, away from all those other constellations. So, anyways, we have a lineup already right here. Let's see, who's first there, Naveen? Okay, so Jesus, we're going to look at uh yeah, I don't he's not there. Oh, he's not. Okay. Well, I guess we'll get to him later. How about that? Okay, Chris Whittam, you're up. Are you ready? Chris Whittam?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, very good. Yeah,
Okay,
so show
good.
us what you got from our challenge, least Kraken.
So I've got a couple of pictures of the California Nebula, as you can see, and it's actually with a new telescope I just acquired, a Skywatcher Spree 100, and uh, it's and the one thing I have is the L Enhance filter on it, so that's why it's a little bit better. It's also why there's a little bit of a halo there on the brightest star in the field of view, and just started using filters like this and a camera that is modified so it can be used for astrophotography. So a lot of new things all done all at once. And with this, it's 3 minute lights, and there's 91 of them, so a fair amount of acquisition. I've actually wanted to do more with it. I've actually got some acquisition time without the filter because my eventual plan is to replace these stars with stars that don't have any of the bias caused by the filter. So that's what you're seeing with this one.
Okay, very good. It actually almost looks like
And all the process.
yeah, I was going to say it looks like you yeah, it looks like some parts of the hydrogen alpha is blown out here, which is kind of rare. I mean, it must have been very intense as far as like an individual sub. Do you how did the individual subs look? I mean, where was the you see what I'm talking about? If you're looking at center, I'm
Yes,
talking about lower left of center. So,
yes, yes. So with the 3 minute subs, if you look at each individual sub, are you very faintly see the nebula, and
okay, all
it's
right. So this
about an
is
eighth to a quarter across.
okay. So this is processing magic. Chris Whittam processing magic, I guess, right?
It's
So,
yeah, mostly Cyril, graph expert for the uh, getting rid of any background extraction, and then AstroSharp just to kind of clear up a little bit of the background because it seems like no matter what around here, you always get a little bit of the background with a little salt and pepper, and that helps to get rid of it.
well, if I'm seeing this correctly, I seeing almost like a web of fainter material to on either side. Of course, mostly on the right. You see that too, Naveen? Yeah. It's just like you can see like little tendrils coming off of it. Yeah, like right there. Yeah, there's one that's right there. I'm wondering, did you happen to see those? And if you were to like stretch it a little more, would it showed up? Would it show up any better, or will the noise just start to become unbearable?
I think with this one, and I mean, I'm doing this in Holy Springs, so it's not exactly the darkest place in the world. I think we're, with the amount of time I put into it, we're close to the limit of what you could do with this.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. I mean, I am definitely just beginning this journey right now. So,
Well, this is the
um,
first time I've seen your stuff, going back to December. Yeah, I was like, oh, Chris is submitting stuff. I've never seen his work before. So, I mean, you gotten off at a good start, I guess, because I didn't get anything close to this as far as hydrogen alpha goes. Then again, most the cameras that were out there that could capture such stuff were like thousands of dollars. The CMOS backlit CMOS revolution hadn't occurred yet. It was all still tiny CCD chips that cost thousands. But
yeah. Well, I mean, there's just a Canon T7i, so and it was used, and I'm like, okay. I mean, it's actually I have very little equipment that is not used, so
and what was the focal length again?
550.
550. Okay, very good. Okay, he has another one, so we'll look at that one.
And it's basically the same. So when I got this from this gentleman, he had attached a filter drawer to it, the ZWO filter drawer. I hadn't used this telescope before, and this is much more cropped. You can see why if you look at the upper right corner. That filter drawer added enough. So with the Esprit, you get a field flap, and you have to have it a very specific back focus, of course. And I wasn't thinking much that because I was thinking, okay, he must have been shooting with this and had some experience and everything. I do the first time, and you can see the coma was enough to drive you crazy.
Yeah.
But but I thought it was a nice comparison between the other one first, differences in coma and not. And there's some things about this one that I like too. It was early in the month when the moon was not quite out there, so it seems like maybe it captured a little bit more detail. But the main thing that kind of messes it up is the fact that it was, it has that coma that kind of
Yeah.
nullifies some of the niceness of the image.
Well, one thing that's I was complaining about in the last one is that area that was like so bright in the last one, you can see a little bit of delicate detail there. I mean,
Mhm.
So just a little thought on processing. I don't know if you've got Blur Exterminator. If you run that early in the process, it could probably fix those coma stars.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Yeah, I had some
make
tilt in my sensor for that Rho-Ophiuchus image, Rho-Ophiuchi nebula, and Blur Exterminator took the misshapen stars right out. They just rounded them right up.
Interesting.
Yeah,
yeah,
so
it
it's
is
And
magic.
this was a very, yeah, good to know. So I'll see if I can swing that and see if I can figure that piece out. And it's like I said, just trying to figure a lot of things out all at once. And so
yeah. So that Blur
um,
Exterminator, you run it on the unstretched image straight away, and then you can plate solve it after, if it doesn't have the solution for some reason, and runs photograph SPCC on it and picks insight, and it'll fix your star colors and all that stuff. It's pretty cool.
okay,
What's the
I'll have to try it
software
out
package?
sometime.
What was that?
Say what?
Is that the software package, Blur Exterminator, or is that part? Or
Yeah, it's a plug-in from RC Astro.
okay, thank you.
Yeah. So he also makes a noise exterminator and Star Exterminator, which is, StarNet works, but Star Exterminator actually, in my opinion, works better. as far as if you do separate the stars out to do stuff. You know, I've incorporated that into my processing flow. This is just if I need to shut up, feel free to say so. But basically, I run blur exterminator first, then I run SPCC. If it doesn't have a solution, I'll run image solver, and then I'll do all my other stuff. And then after I do a mass stretch, I split the stars off separate, and then I run noise exterminator on the nebula, and I stretch it separately, and then I reduce the stars with morphological transformation and merge them back together. That's the quick and dirty of what I do. And I do most of that, all that in PixInsight. So if you don't have PixInsight, well, that doesn't help you much.
No, not yet.
Yeah.
If you don't have PixInsight, you mentioned Cyril. You can do all but blur exterminator in Cyril. I mean, you would need to have StarNet integrated, which I've had a hard time getting to work, but it works better standalone for me. But it is, in theory, possible to use, other than blur exterminator, which I believe is a PixInsight only plugin.
I can't remember if that's PixInsight only or if it also works in Photoshop. Several of them are both.
Yeah, I think that was the most recent one, and he only released it for PixInsight, I think. But he might have changed it since then. But the latest version of the AI, version 4, is just magical. It
that
fixes
latest
everything within reason. It's not like making up anything. But I had problems with my C8 not being really well corrected, and it's making the stars less wonky. So
yeah, it did wonders on the stuff for me. So, and it'll also, as part of its magic, it'll do not quite a wavelet transformation, but it'll bring out some of the details in the nebula too.
Okay, very good. All right, let's move on to, well, Jesus is here now, so we'll do Jesus. Okay, ready?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for the time. Got this image just a few weeks ago with my 8-inch 1000mm focal length. The resolution is very, very good in this image. I also capture some hydrogen with my NBC filter. If you zoom into the image, I just really like the details and the little nebulae all around. It's just very, very sharp and clean image. Probably one of my best images. This is only with 4 hours of work, 4 hours of data. The telescope is very fast with the reducer. I think it's the Starzona. It's the one that gives you 0.75x.
Oh, you used S&T for this?
No, the reducer.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, 0.75 reducer. So it makes it a f4, I think, f4, f3.7.
Wow.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Where are you taking this picture from?
So I have a space at a flying club. They let me stay there sometimes. It's very dark. I only captured like 2 hours of this when I was there. And then I switched over to the NBC filter for another 2 hours. Mm-hmm. Used the blur exterminator as well. So it brings out a little bit more detail. I hope it's my data. I hope it's the telescope able to do that, but blur exterminator is probably cheating somehow.
It does real deconvolution. So yeah. It the data is there, just
right. So I think the next image is the California Nebula. For this one, I used the NBC filter with the LPT to be able to separate a little bit of the emissions there. Each filter has 2 emissions. I believe the blue is hydrogen A, and then sulfur is red. The other colors there, I don't think they belong to any other emission because this nebula doesn't have a lot of oxygen. So right. Yeah. I was surprised that I couldn't see any at all with that f3.7 focal ratio and an NBC filter, which is made for fast telescopes. So Mm. Yeah. So I just wanted to get a separation a little bit on those emissions and those gases there. I guess the only thing I'm not happy about is the star is way too bright to the point where it clipped. But I was also very impressed by the peak. There's like these little cocoons right next to that yellow star. If you zoom into it, you'll be able to see those little cocoons. It's quite an interesting sight. I wish we had a better, like, more close-up view of that, but yeah. Yeah, you're just like looking at the little things and details there.
Look at yourself a really nice SCT, I guess. Oh, do what? It's no. I mean, get yourself an SCT along. Yeah. I mean, what was the focal length of your what? Okay. So is it an 8-inch or 8-inch 1000 millimeters? That is actually a focal length and an aperture I've been looking for a long time. Well, who made that? Orion. Okay, I've seen that one. All right. Well, maybe I ought to check that out. I mean, it's funny. It's like I got collimation tools for a Newtonian back when I used to have a Newtonian, and I actually had still have a field flattener. I just kept all that and sold the Newtonian. It was like, I'm not giving this to him because I don't know. I may actually go back to it. I was like, all right, well, I guess Jesus, he's gonna make me lose money now. So, uh, okay, yeah, let's see who's next. Don, you there?
Yes, yes, I am.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
best galaxy image I've seen you take.
and this was taken from my backyard, and which is Bortle 5, and this is was taken with my 36-year-old 94 millimeter Brandon refractor f/6.8 640 millimeter focal length, and the camera was a ASI 294 Pro MC. And this actually represents 2 nights, 4 hours each night, and the subs were 3 minutes each. And I kind of kept all the way the stars look, because you're really looking through the plane of our galaxy. So there's a lot obstructing this galaxy, so which required a bit of time to pick it up in that. And my processing skills aren't that great. I've extracted the galaxy out with StarNet plus the stars, removed the stars with StarNet plus, and then tried adding it in. But when you do that, you have to control the opacity, the background, and it's really difficult. When I try to get the stars the way I want it, that I blend out all of the enhancements I did to the galaxy, because there's detail in the galaxy that could pop out more. But when I add it back together and get the stars to where I want it, those changes kind of disappear. So I guess I need to go back into with GIMP and use layers and masks, and with a mask I got a feather, I got a this, that. And GIMP is not as well supported as Photoshop. But anyway, I thought it turned out pretty good. And
Yeah, this galaxy is actually it's like you said, because it's like right in the heart of the star field of the Milky Way. This is pretty much, I don't want to burst your bubble there, about as good as it's going to get. I mean, as far as getting a good look at it, I mean, sure, you can do more exposure time, maybe it'll pick up faint detail, but it's the fact that you have the star field in your way. It just really distracts from what you're like wanting to see, because that's one of the things that everybody does in imaging that you learn, is that you have all these nice emission nebula and nebulae, and well, where are they? They're in areas where there's lots of starlight, and so, well, if you want to see all that delicate detail, you either shrink the stars or do like your talk about, Don, and just separate the stars and process the image and then put the stars back in, roughly speaking. And but yeah, but this one, it's I yeah, it's really funny. A long time ago, really long time ago, probably back in before 2010, I actually did look at this with that Newtonian that I was just talking about or earlier. And I got discouraged with it because it's like, my God, I don't want to see stars. I want to see the galaxy. So because I didn't really have much in the way of processing skills, I gave up on it and yeah, went on to something else. But yeah, I mean, you pulled it off beautifully for something that's just so, obscured by our own galaxy. I mean, so
I'd
nice job.
definitely
the
like to take a look at the unstretched one on this one. I'd love to take a crack at that one. It looks like there's a lot there. I like it.
Yeah, yeah. And again, I'm still, I've been doing this a while. Like I, I, I don't use Pix Insight. I use a Serial. I use GIMP. I use Raw Therapy. I use uh, uh, that AI. What is it? The processing Topaz AI.
Topaz, yeah, that's
Yeah,
good stuff.
and I also used another piece of software. So I'm kind of bouncing around. So, and yeah, at some point, I think I'm reaching a point where I really need to move to the next level or whatever. But I think there is detail in this galaxy I can get more out of, in that. So it's there in that. Well, when you sit on it for 8 hours, there should be something.
Yeah, it looks like there's a good chunk of data there, and I'd probably reduce the stars myself a little bit if I were processing it, just to make the galaxy pop a little more. But
See
but it
that?
is a it is a nice star field though.
Yeah, I kind of want to leave that, but I find when I do what I'm doing with restacking on top of the star, what I do is I take um, uh, the image I extracted the galaxy out, and then when I add it back in, I kind of reduce the. I'm probably not doing this right. I'll bring the exposure down some, but you can do before I put the one on top of the other and then increase. But what it does, it changes the star colors, and
Hmm.
it's not the right way to process the stars, and that's where it picks insight or some other stuff. Um, would be a better way of
Yeah.
doing it.
Now
In
I may be
that,
doing it completely wrong, but what I do is I do a mass stretch on the entire image first, then I separate the stars off, and
Mhm.
then I will do more stretching manually on the galaxy in this case. And if I do
Which
anything to yeah, if I do anything to the stars, I reduce them while they're separated, and
Mhm.
then I merge them back together just as a straight up pixel math
Mhm.
combination. And the
Right,
stars come back in without their colors being, wonkified, so.
right, right. Okay. Yeah, good. Thank you. Mhm.
Okay, Don, let's look at your next picture here.
Okay.
N33, very nice. You do know that's in the constellation Triangulum, so it disqualifies. Next picture. So
It's close enough. But
go ahead, Don. I'm just messing with you.
yeah, I know. And again, this is my backyard, Bortle 5. And this is the same telescope, same equipment. Um, this is first was 3 hours of the UV IR cut filter, and that was with 3 minute sub exposures. I had taken 4 hours, but the sky conditions were deteriorating, so I was able to get a solid 3 hours of data, and then 2 nights later, I changed out the filter for the L enhance and collected another 3 hours of data, and these were 5 minute sub exposures. And instead of running at close to unity, I usually run it at 125. These were at 180 gain, and they were 5 minute sub exposures. So yeah, that would be 36. and then combine them and process them. And that again, you can see the halos. Again, that's a combination of the L enhance and with very bright stars. Since the refractor I have, which was very good 36 years ago, um, you can still see some halos in that. But otherwise, any other interesting thing is I'm picking up some hot pixels, even though I in Deep Sky Stacker suppress the hot pixels.
You're talking about those
And
like those really bright red ones there.
little red dots. You can see them up. There's one that sticks right out up in the corner, the right upper corner. You can see it. You can start seeing them. Yeah, they're not stars. They're pixels. At least I think they are. No, they got to be
Well,
pixels.
I mean, yeah,
Uh,
that's just probably from like dithering or just very slight drift from exposure to exposure
Okay.
time. So yeah, that it's probably a pixel. Yeah, it's interesting though. It's like you would think that it would almost like average it out, but because it's been put on a pixel that's it's been calibrated on a pixel area, it yeah, it doesn't really get averaged out. I mean, is that what you were trying to say, or
That's good.
I,
You dither,
yeah,
Don?
that would. What was that?
do you dither?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I mean that could do the trick for you. I mean, because it's like I
Okay,
said, it doesn't look like it's a perfect pixel. It looks like it's a bunch of them
you're
together,
right.
and that's probably because yeah, shame on you. What are you doing? Knock that off. Okay. So- so- yeah, so it's a lot. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it looks like that you may have had a tad bit of movement between exposures, but it's not enough to really see you know really mess up the image as far as
Right.
as time goes
Yeah.
Well, the
by. Yeah, each
And I
frame.
don't
Thank
think
you.
I don't think Deep Sky Stacker can detect hot pixels or anything either in its stacking, right?
Yeah, I
there
can.
is a
Is there one?
there's a
Yeah,
epoxy
there's
check
one there.
off.
It's not very aggressive though. It's
Yeah.
there.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. The other thing too I found that was interesting is I uh, I combined the two final images, and I got a completely different looking image. More blue, less kind of a little less of the red detail, and a little less exposed. So then what I did is I took the two the final stacked images from each one, stacked them together, and then did all my processing to get this, which looked much better, which is kind of interesting. I'm not sure why, but
Um,
maybe
eh,
because I was doing less processing because I'm doing it on just one.
So,
Uh,
Don, just so you're aware, and in case you didn't know, for the dithering, that's your mount is going to move the camera or move it a little bit,
yep.
however often you tell it. And then when you stack, the algorithms see dots that don't show up in all the frames, so they throw them away. They'll be rejected. So
Yep.
whether Deep Sky Stacker does a good job with hot pixel detection or not, dithering should help get rid of those spots.
Okay.
A thought on I like where you're going with trying out combining the two images together up front. One of the things that I've done, and I've done it in PixInsight, so I don't know what you could do in the other tools, is add the red channel and the hydrogen alpha together, but take a max of the two. So do a linear fit and then take a max. Because sometimes combining the hydrogen alpha data with the broadband is a pain. And that's worked with some of my images I've tried. So sounds like you tried kind of the same thing, but just combining all the channels. And I think it's worked out. This is a gorgeous picture. I love this galaxy generally. So you did a great job.
Mhm. All right. Thanks.
Yeah, it's better than any M33 I've done.
Okay. Yeah. I guess that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great image.
Okay, very good, Don. What's up next? Jim Perciaccante.
Right. It's the Kraken. Had to release the Kraken for this one. This is in Cepheus.
And this is a dark nebula, the Shark Nebula. I get that our brains like to convert things into familiar objects, but the way this looks like a shark to me, that's just amazing. That there can be some dust that looks that much like a shark right down to the black spot around the eye. That's wild. So this was 6 hours of imaging for me. About half of that was luminance. I've got a 2600 monocam, and then I use a Meade 70 millimeter f5, so 350 millimeter focal length. And so I sat on it for 6 hours, half luminance. And I still wonder, like for other people that do mono imaging, is it really better to, like, should I spend more time just on the individual color channels? Because it's an apochromatic telescope, but it's still, I can focus on red or I can focus on blue, but I can't focus on both real well. So I wonder if it would just be sharper if I would just do all RGB and extract the luminance. If I if I don't have luminance, yeah, and then I just kind of extract luminance channel, just do it that way.
Yeah, if you got CA, I'd probably do a mono camera with filters, but that's just me.
If you do the RGB filters,
Yeah, I would do the individual filters
Yeah.
and then probably linear fit them before you combine them. I'm not sure if that's good or not, but
I find like with the GHS stretching and pixel side, I don't even need to do linear fit. I can just kind of adjust the channels individually and get them to work pretty well.
That is one thing I would say with luminance. I would focus on the luminance with the.
Yeah.
Stretch. The others, I just go straight for the.
It just, yeah, but yeah, that's true. You know, to do all that with colors. I like that little galaxy behind the dorsal fin there. That's a cool little galaxy up there. Not sure what that one's called. Yeah. All brown with going through all the dust, but it's cool to find those little galaxies way in the background. All right.
look like an orange version of Slimer from Ghostbusters.
That's
For
kinda-
me. It's a Slimer galaxy from now on.
Yep, next. And so this was one that was sort of an unplanned project where in December I was shooting Orion, and it was going to be like 9:30 at night before Orion got to where I could shoot it from where I was located. So I was like, looking for another target for a couple hours, and I thought I'd knock off one of the Messier ones. And so in the upper right, that's M77. And it's also called the Squid Galaxy. I have no idea why. It doesn't look like a squid to me. But I do think that ring is cool. And had I planned it out a little bit better, it would have been a nice one to sit on that one for 8 hours and really bring out that little faint ring around M77. And then yeah, it goes beyond, like you can't see it there, but like on the, yeah, like if I really push the stretching on this, you could see some faint stuff going way out, but it gets kind of ugly, at least with only 2 hours of data on it. And then that other one in there, NGC 1055, I think that's a cool looking galaxy too. I guess because it's edge on, it doesn't get the same naming rights that the Squid Galaxy gets because it doesn't look as dramatic, but it's still a cool looking galaxy. And so like shooting this reminds me that we're heading into galaxy season, and I'm still shooting with a 350 millimeter scope. It may be time to upgrade, but I mean, I'm impressed with, like, between dithering and blur exterminator, the amount of like detail you can get on a 350 millimeters. It's kind of crazy that you can get that much detail.
Which camera were you
Yeah.
using?
So it's the ZWO 2600 mm Pro. So the camera makes all the difference because it's a great camera. I have
Okay.
shot darks, and I don't even shoot flats anymore because luckily I don't have any dust on it. So I don't do any darks or flats. I haven't done any in a year.
Wow.
I'm blown away by the camera that I can get away with that because
So has this been cropped at all?
yeah, that's a crop. The full image has got some cool galaxies in it too.
How much do you figure you cropped it? Because I'm trying to figure out that even with my scope, that would be those would be pretty small.
But Naveen, zoom in on like that NGC 1055 to see all the detail you get, because that's probably about a quarter of the frame of this, and you still get some pretty good detail.
Yeah.
Use PixInsight to stack, right?
I do, yeah.
Did you drizzle this at all?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. How far did you drizzle it on this one?
2 times.
2 times?
Yep.
Yeah, that's some of your reclaimed size. Because yeah, like you said, it would be kind of small otherwise, right?
Yeah. I've started making what do I call it? A Messier chart, basically, where I'm taking the images that I've gotten and put them all into one at like sort of 400 by 400 pixel scale. Means I'm gonna have to shoot a whole bunch of globular clusters, which I'm not excited about, but I can knock off a bunch of them in one night.
The globulars are okay, but the open clusters are like meh.
Maybe I'll do like a couple frames on those and call it a night.
Ian, are you out there?
I am. Good evening.
Very
How you all
good.
doing?
Oh, we're fine.
Good, good.
So you have a heart there.
I have a heart.
You're a
I
great
have-
guy.
Thanks. I appreciate it. It's a big old blue heart. This is well, as you said, Heart Nebula IC 1805. This is I took this in from my driveway in Cary under Bortle 6 skies. I just took this about 2 weeks ago. I think it was January 7th and not quite 2 weeks ago, January 7th and January 11th. So I had 2 nights of data, total of 50 subs at 5 minutes a sub. So it's about 4 hours and 10 minutes of integration. And this is actually a false Hubble palette. So this is actually done with the 2600 Color Pro with an L-Enhance filter, Optilong L-Enhance 2-inch filter. So I just kind of created this in PixInsight. But I was using a William Optics GT81 triplet with a 0.8 reducer. So my focal length was 384. And I'm using an AM5 mount as well. And I did auto guiding on this as well, of course. And this is my second time using PixInsight. I actually just downloaded the free trial, so I'm still new to this. And this was the second project I've started working on with PixInsight. And I do have to say, I know you're talking earlier about the RC Astro plugins, but they are pretty remarkable. So this does have Blur Exterminator, Noise Exterminator, and I use Star Exterminator on this as well.
Yeah, a little pricey when you buy them all, but they're worth it.
Yeah, but I find myself, I'm still on the free trials for all of them, and I got a couple more weeks left, but they are really transformative. And I was using Cyril and GIMP to get started out because they were free, and I was just starting out, and I was using those just to get an idea about processing and practicing and stuff. And then, like I said, just about a week and a half ago, I switched to PixInsight, and it's and with those plugins, it was pretty massive differences. So
and you got the best mount in existence too, that AM5. I love that thing.
It's pretty incredible. The tracking, the guiding on it is just, it's been fantastic. And yeah, so I've been really pleased with some of the results. I've been watching a lot of tutorials. So like I said, this is a false Hubble palette. I was just watching some tutorials on YouTube on how to do it, and I saw one guy, Visible Dark, does some tutorials, and he had one on how to create a Hubble palette with a color camera and a L-Enhance filter. So I watched it, gave it a shot, and this was the result. And of course, I took some artistic liberties to it, and just the color and the saturation are just what I kind of picked. So, and this was my result.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I tell people all the time, like at public things, is astrophotography is an exercise in lying through pictures, because we all take our liberties with it. We modify what comes out of the camera and we make it what we want it to see.
Yeah, that's true.
But how much is PixInsight these days?
I think it's 330 or 370 or something like that. It's gone up since I bought it, I think, because someone asked on one of the forums, and it was like 370 euros. So, but I think they just do it in dollars, the same price. So,
something like that.
Yeah, it's not cheap. It's
320 now. Yeah, you just looked it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the good thing about, I'm thinking
it was
about
like $100 cheaper when I bought it.
I think it might be worth it in the long run. I've seen a lot of people who use Photoshop. I'm just not big into like the subscriptions, but I might just
Look at Affinity Photo.
Affinity. Thanks. I'll check that
Yeah,
out.
because Affinity Photo, when it goes on sale fairly regularly, I bought the Windows, Mac, and iPad versions
Mhm.
for all three a total of $50.
Oh, nice.
And now it doesn't have all the actions like Photoshop, and what you're going to find is you have to kind of relearn how to do things in a different way with Affinity. But as far as I've been able to tell, with the exception of plugins, Affinity has been able to do everything that Photoshop can without the monthly tax. So
Yeah, I appreciate the lead on that. I'll check it out.
yeah, and it does actually. I haven't played with this personally because of PixInsight, me owning it. It does have some stacking features in Affinity too, because apparently it was developed by people that are into astrophotography as well. So they have some stacking capabilities within there too.
Oh, cool. Very cool. Oh, and talk about workflow. I think you had mentioned you did a stretch and then remove the stars. Part of my workflow is I actually remove the stars using Star Exterminator when it's still in a linear format. So prior to any stretching is what I did for this.
Yeah,
then,
I did that before, but the reason I didn't is I struggled to get the stars the right stretch if I did it the reverse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I've generally found when I stretch it, and the mass stretch is a pretty light stretch. It doesn't push it hard, so I don't blow anything out. And then the stars are pretty good where they are, other than size if I want to reduce them. So that's kind of why I chose to do that with mine. But yeah,
Cool.
everyone does their own, skins their cat their own way.
Yeah.
There is an option with stars to do a process. It's called screening and unscreening or rescreening. With PixInsight, so Star Exterminator has an unscreened checkbox. And what it does is I can't remember the formula, but it's inverting the image, and effectively the stars are kept at whatever brightness they were when they were separate, even if they land inside a bright nebula. So it's a way to manipulate the stars, saturate your nebula independent of each other, and combine them without the colors being affected. So you might want to look into rescreening. And I can put in chat a link to a forum post about it. I think I have it stashed somewhere.
I think I do that. I think I do it with the screen. I'll just check. The unscreened star. I did it with the unscreened stars is what I did.
Okay, what we got next? Darn it. Oh, it's you. Okay. You didn't get it all though. So
Okay, so this is a challenge. One of my challenges was framing things. So this is Cassiopeia. I got all the main stars. That was my goal. And I decided with this not to, I didn't crop anything because it wasn't too bad at the edges this is UV IR cut with the Rokinon 135 and the AP26 CC, which is the Ogma IMX 571 color camera. So yeah, I didn't start processing this until the weekend. Not super thrilled with the edges of the mosaic, but it's okay. I also did with the L Extreme filter and stopped last night when I combined everything, and it looked like clearly 3 tiles. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to try and start over. This is about 2 hours for each of the panels, so 6 hours total. And what I like about this one, I like doing large mosaics like this. Okay, so backing up, I was going to do Pegasus. It would be a massive 34 panel mosaic. So talk about a challenge. My challenge was getting the data. I had data for 17 panels, and I didn't even try processing yet. So yeah, well, I'll keep going on it and we'll see what happens. But it's not what I wanted. Click. This over here, I don't know what this is. And I want to go look that up because point my C8 at it, as well as this patch over here. So it's really, I really enjoy like zooming in. Oh, and this bit up here in the top, I don't know what that is. This is Pac-Man Nebula. And then this one over here is Shrimp Nebula, SH2188. I don't know the name of that, but there's one. Yeah. Oh, there's 3 clusters right there. Well, maybe there's a bunch actually. Yeah, yeah. And then yeah, the ghost of Cassiopeia
Nice.
in the center.
If you guys ever want to see a crazy mosaic, you should look at Matt Harbison's 200 panel mosaic of the Orions.
Oh yeah,
Orion.
I've seen that. That one's insane.
Crazy. And he
Wow.
plate solved the whole thing. You can actually see, you put the plate solve data on there and see every star labeled. It's crazy.
And Chris is asking what this one is. I don't know yet. Huh? I'll zoom in on it. Sure. No, that's
Hey guys,
not Gabe.
can you hear me at
Yeah,
all?
Don, we can hear you.
My screen just crashed. The thing just I don't know what's going on.
I blame Windows.
Yeah, I mean, I just get a little stretched window up there that looks like a bunch of garbage. So I may.
Yeah, rejoin real quick, maybe. I can admit you whenever you come in.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to have to do is I'm just going to have to do a shut the power off. This thing is like let me. I'll try a. Yeah, this thing's completely screwed.
All right, I'll let
So
you join again.
I may not get back on or whatever, but anyway, I'll give it a try just to let you know. I'll be leaving. This is.
All right, Don. No, yeah. I just haven't had time to look up what these are yet. And Astrobin couldn't plate solve it because I left all the edges and it's like, nope, I can't do this. And it took long enough doing it, I didn't realize. But yeah, I really want to point the C8 at whatever the heck this is because that looks cool. Oh, I did earlier. I zoomed in. I don't.
It's an alien death ray coming for us. That's it. Yeah. Just hasn't made it here yet.
In a future meeting, I'll take a picture. All right. So my next picture, I clicked, so you already saw it. This is the Shrimp Nebula close up. So that little crescent-y red blob in the bottom left quadrant of Cassiopeia, the way I framed it, this is the shrimp, rotated a bit. But 22 and a bit hours total. Most of that narrowband, 10 hours of hydrogen alpha because I screwed up with I've been using the target sequencer plugin in Nina, which is really great, but it doesn't do things the way I want it to. So I've written software around it to help manage it, and I got it wrong. But anyway, 10 hours of hydrogen alpha on this was really cool because you can see all the fainter stuff out here, which is neat. Yeah, so oxygen is really concentrated in this greenish, and then the sulfur too is more the orange. And I think I got a little over 5 hours of O3 and maybe a little under 5 of sulfur. And then RGB stars, so like half an hour, red, green, and blue each. Not a lot. But
Which scope was this? I'm back.
oh, this is my Celestron C8 with the 0.63 reducer with the ASI 2600 mm Pro.
Do you know how big that is in arc minutes or seconds or?
Give me 1 second. I'll ask Astrobin. So field radius on this is 0.348 degrees.
Okay.
Pixel scales 0.607 arc seconds per pixel.
So it'd be worthwhile for me to try.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a neat target. I had the other challenge. I didn't touch this data. I've been collecting it for a while. Didn't touch it at all until 2 nights ago. It's like I just 22 hours of data. I just like didn't look.
Wow.
So that's it for you, Naveen. Okay, who's up next? Let's see. Oh, that's it. Okay, so that's everybody. All right. Well, congratulations, you guys survived a nerd challenge. So, let's go ahead and get this out of the way before we go on to the non-target challenge images. So I mentioned in the room earlier before the meeting started to Naveen and Anna, but we're thinking that what we'll want to do for the next challenge, kind of following the same trend of looking at targets in different nebulae. All right, let me make sure I get the pronunciation correct. Okay. Well, I got the pronunciation correct. Yeah, this is something that was going on before to me. But anyway, the bull, as in Bull, and the charioteer. Okay, so bull meaning Taurus, the constellation Taurus. What are you laughing? I mean, so, okay. Uh, anyway, and then the charioteer. Probably a lot of people are not very familiar as to which constellation is the charioteer, but it's Auriga. It's one of the stars that makes up the horn of the tip of the horn of Taurus. It shares that star with Auriga, and the brightest star in Auriga is Capella, and it's pretty obvious this time of year right now. And then, of course, the brightest star in Taurus is Aldebaran. I like saying it. It's probably Aldebaran, but I like calling it Aldebaran just because it sounds like Alderaan from Star Wars. It's fun, you know. I mean, hey, okay. All right, I don't know, let it rip. Naveen, what we got? Let's see. And who is this? Is this you or somebody else? Oh, okay. Jesus.
Yeah, so for this image, I used, again, I used my two filters, the Antlia ALPT and my NBC. I was very eager to take this image actually, because I wanted to get 4 emissions, see what kind of image you would get with 4 different kind of gases, I guess. So I believe the red one is sulfur, purple is oxygen, yellow is hydrogen A, and the other is not quite sure. I don't remember. Hydrogen B. It should be hydrogen B. But it's very detailed. There's like these faint blobs that are red. They're all over the nebula, and it's very unusual looking, kind of like the Jamaican palette, Jamaican flag. But I like the look of it.
Okay, Jim Perciaccante, are you here? All right, very good.
So this is my Orion 2023 version. This is one I always think of you, Chris, with going through the progress over the years. And so this is a fun one to go back and shoot with new techniques and new equipment, see what you can get each time. And so this time I spent 10 hours on Orion, which I'm usually a 2-hour guy, so that's crazy for me to spend 10 hours on anything. I tried, in order to get some of the detail, I did narrowband imaging. So I did sulfur, hydrogen, oxygen, and then I did RGB imaging. And then I integrated all of them into a single luminance to kind of bring everything out. And then I just did RGB color on top of that. And so this is one where I could, the hydrogen data gives you all that great dusty stuff. And then with the oxygen, you can bring out the Running Man, and the sulfur just added a few more wispy bits. So this was a fun one, a little tough to process. The first time I processed it, it came out just very flat looking until I kind of went back and did GHS sort of painfully, where I did a little bit at a time and just to get everything without blowing out too much. kind of lost the what's it called, the trapezium, but they were in there in the data, and I just gave up after a while. I'm like, I quit.
All right, thanks. Yeah, I like it looks very three-dimensional. That's the most three-dimensional Orion Nebula I've seen in a while. That's fantastic right there. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It looks like it's trying to come out of the screen almost. I know. Well, I'm looking at my Flickr, it's like, can I get this to work on it? Because this is a smaller pixel scale, but yeah, yeah, that one's just, yeah, that one really great. That's really nice. Nice going. All right, let's see what's next. You? Okay, this is you.
All right. So this is the Cave Nebula you mentioned earlier. I can't remember where it is in the sky, but it's definitely not Cassiopeia. It's more, I want to say something like near Cepheus for sure, but I can't remember. Anyway, yeah, I think Cave is actually, I think it's like this bit on the right. But I like this blob here. And of course, this is with the C8 reduced in the ESI 2600. So with the wonky stars I get, because the field's not flat, I have to crop basically down to a 1-inch sensor size. But still, it looks pretty cool. Cepheus? All right. Thank you. All right. This is an example of me screwing up. I was going for a mosaic of Witch Head Nebula. This is actually somewhere in Orion. So what happened is when I was playing around with the target scheduler plugin and the scripts that I had written, I was taking like targets, frame a target in Nina in the framing wizard. It writes it to disk. It's an XML file. I don't know why they chose XML, but anyway, was parsing it and taking the coordinates and other metadata and putting it into a database for my own use. What I messed up was declination. I basically took the absolute value of declination. This should have been negative. Yeah, so I started processing this. I'm like, let's see the witch's head. And no, but still, it looked kind of cool. So yeah, if you screw up, go ahead and see what you get. I think if you go off in this framing to the left, it's the main body of Orion. Like, yeah, hold on. Where do I have it? Cat's eyes. Too many pictures I've not posted. Too many. Oh yeah, that's right. I called it Happy Mistakes Were Made. So I'll pull this over. So it's the arm of Orion, or the bow, I guess. Yeah, yeah, it's pretty cool. So that's actually going to be, yeah. So the dust, this blob here, I guess, is right up in here. Anyway, Orion has a lot of stuff go around. I'm also trying to do a mosaic of Orion because I'm crazy and keep doing it. But I think I had set Pegasus and other targets as higher priority, so I haven't gotten much on that yet.
Auriga would be a hint.
Auriga, yeah.
I mean, that was
Yeah.
something I thought about like months ago. That's where
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and this is equipment wise, the AP 26cc. So a IMX 571 APC color sensor and the Rokinon 135 stop down to f2.8. Okay, well then, fine, just read. NGC, yeah, I mean, there's, I guess, I don't know what they are. I don't know if
Oh, I guess they're coming back.
yeah, my hotspot, which is what I'm tethered to, dropped for some reason that I can't explain. Sorry, guys. We were looking at the Knot Witchhead Nebula to see the NGC objects. Oh God. Okay, click. I don't know what I'm looking at. Yeah, that's cool.
Well, we're not looking at anything but a RAC logo, so I
Oh,
don't think you're sharing the
gosh.
screen.
Who's running this AV stuff? Goodness gracious. Okay, hopefully you'll see it now. Let me try
Yeah, we can see
to
it.
zoom in on this guy. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure when, okay, let's pick something that's obvious. If I click on this. Oh, it's where the cursor is. Okay. So, yeah, a little tiny reflection, maybe. Yeah. But, yeah, as I said in my Asher event, it's happy mistakes were made. Next is Tulip. I've been collecting data on this for a while. Narrowband with RGB stars, hydrogen alpha for the luminance. Yeah. So 14 and a half hours total with the C8 and the ASI 2600. I don't know. What am I?
Cygnus X1 black hole bow shot.
Where is Cygnus X1? Oh, okay. It's right like there. What does it show up in? Oh, okay, yeah, because this is mostly narrowband. I just enough color for the stars. Man, might have a reason to add some more data. Would be cool. And I think that was that it? Yep, that was it.
Okay, very good. Well, that's the end of it. Just to remind everybody, yeah, the target challenge next time will be the bull and the charioteer, which means that we're looking at objects within the constellations of Taurus and Aurigae, and we'll see what everybody comes up with. One really quick thing about the upcoming annual event that RAC always helps the museum out with, Astronomy Days. I've been told that the manning the astrophotography exhibit, we're good with having volunteers there for the Saturday, but we're not doing, I mean, we haven't filled up completely for Sunday.
Sunday needs people. I don't have a number on how many people, but I think we basically don't have anybody.
What days is it this year?
It's February 2nd and 3rd, Saturday and Sunday. So the first weekend.
Okay. If it happened to be the end of the month, I want to be there at the end of the month, but I won't be there the 2nd. I'll be going back that Friday. So
Bummer.
yeah, so I can't help you.
I appreciate it anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to drive 450 miles to get free pizza. So I'll tell you that. But too
Well,
bad.
we see where your love is. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Ken. I'm available that Sunday. It's actually the 3rd and the 4th, but the 4th I'm available. I can help out if you need.
Okay. Um,
Hey, I recognize this object. That's a wire to field arrow.
okay. Well, I don't think I'm leaving anything off, am I, guys? Here in the room? No? Anybody else want to have anything that we should go over? No? Okay, well, I guess that's it. We'll see you in February. If you guys know of a topic that we should go over in February, shoot us an email and we'll see what we can do. So, good night,
So
everybody.
any objects in Taurus and Auriga, right? Any objects in Taurus and
That's
Auriga.
correct. Yeah.
Gotcha. Alrighty.
Even blackness of space if you want.
Woohoo, that'd be impressive.
Yeah, it would
Dark
be.
nebula. Yeah.
All right. Good night, guys.